That was a big one, They had more than we can block. Quarterback knew it. He felt like he could move a little bit away and get it out quickly, and Proctor did a tremendous job of taking two. In those situations, it's like, hey, you got to block yours, and then if you can just take the hit off with the other one, that's what we're trying to do, and he really slowed them both down. So, what it says is that he was locked in, he understood the protection, he understood the situation, and he did what he can do, and he was able to slow down two guys.
Well, it's one thing to know what to do or what he should do, but not to pull it off.
Right.
I mean, how quickly, just because he did have he had to miss some time early, how quickly did he just kind of get back into things?
Yeah, like I said, I thought he really improved throughout the summer in camp in his protection. There was a few things that I saw that he needed to fix, and he's really worked hard at it, and you can see it starting to pay off. And so, even though he was injured, he still was doing things during those 2 weeks. And once he jumped in, I'll be honest, I was surprised there wasn't more rust on him in the first game at Wisconsin. He really did a nice job.
What's it been like having kind of the full group now through 2 games?
Well, it's always great to have all your guys. It's hard to have enough depth to go through a season in the SEC, and the season that's going along. So getting all those guys back is huge. And then it's continuing to develop the guys behind them so we can have those guys ready to rotate in and play. So, but it's always nice to have those guys to start the game with.
What's impressed you the most about the way Parker's played through the first 4 games?
It starts with him getting us in the right places, just ID in fronts and the schemes. I think he's done a really good job there because we've seen a lot of stuff these first 3 weeks, or 4 weeks, excuse me. There's been a lot of different defenses and looks. There was a lot of pressure on him to make the right calls to get us all in the same direction. I did a great job there. He's a tremendous athlete. He's probably one of the most athletic guys. Him and Jonathan Cooper, who was the 7th pick in the first round, the most athletic guys I've ever coached, and he's a competitor. And he's a lot stronger than you think he is, just looking at his size. And so he's able to get in there and really do a good job.
What all is he responsible for play to play?
Well, there's a lot of things. There's in the some schemes he's got to ID the Mike backer for us. Protectionally, there's 3 or 4 calls he has to make to tell us who we're blocking, and it's on him to do that. And then in the run game, sometimes we got to push spots. We got to re-ID Mikes. They're stemming. Everybody we play stems to something new. A lot of people don't really understand. Like, you can have one guy move and change the whole scheme, but when the whole defense moves, we got to be locked in and ready to go. And he does a great job at that.
He catches a lot of people by surprise. Maybe not now, but what was your first impression of him when you first got him? I guess this spring.
Well, I recruited him out of high school, so I knew him and his family. I was one of the dumb guys who was worried if he was going to be big enough and didn't really go full throttle at the end. And then you're watching the national championship game, he's in there playing at 270. So now he's 290. And so I always knew what the athlete he was. I guess just seeing the competitor he is and really how strong he is for his size, But I always really liked him, the kid and the family, and kind of knew he was a special kid. So, and that's all coming to fruition. I just wasn't smart enough to try to pursue it at that time.
The added weight that he's put on, where do you see that stick out on film?
I think it's just more about, some of it's the wear and tear of the game, and some of it's just being able to anchor in there. When you're blocking 330, 340-pound guys inside, they're not pushing in the backfield, or they're trying to pull and snatch you. He's not flying around out there. He's able to anchor down. I think that's where you really see it. And then you see does a nice job of his double teams and getting movement. So, all of that helps, and you can see him kind of growing with that.
How impressive is what he's been able to do? Just given everything he went through in the spring before he really got settled down.
Well, I guess for me, when he was practicing, or I know what he's capable of, I guess I'm not surprised, because that's my expectation for him. And all the stuff that we talked about, spring and all that, really it was just a tiny bump in the road. From the end of spring through the summer, he's been locked in and doing a great job. So it might be surprising more people, but it's not surprising me because I know what he's capable of.
We've obviously seen the rat traps around the facility this week, guys talking about avoiding letdown. Just kind of what have you seen from the intensity this week facing Vanderbilt after such a big game on Saturday?
Yeah, everybody talks about that. There's the relief syndrome, all the things that come with it. And, us as coaches have been through this. Like we explained to them, and they understand this, the whole reason everybody loves college football isn't because the favorite team wins every game, right? Everybody loves the upset. It happens all the time. It's happened to me as a coach. It was just a few years back where we beat Michigan. We're both undefeated, huge game. We're number 3 in the country, and we're going to Purdue, who's 500, and we lay an egg and lose the game. They're storming the field. So we talk about it as coaches, but they got to play and they got to understand it. So I've seen good preparation this week. The older guys understand what it takes, and you know, you can't stress it enough, but that's where when you have maturity and leadership, they're able to handle those things.
What stands out about Vanderbilt's defense when you watch them on film?
You know, obviously they're very disciplined in their scheme and they're well coached. Like, you can see and understand everybody's fitting where they're supposed to go, whether it's a base defense, whether it's a stunt, whether it's a blitz, right? So they're playing, and they play hard. They run to the ball, and that's the thing in football. If you can get 11 guys to play hard every snap, you always got a chance. You know, when you see what they did on the road in Missouri and double overtime and easily could have won that game, right? They beat VT that first game, so they're a very good team. They're going to play hard. They've had 2 weeks to prepare for us, so they're going to have something ready for us we probably haven't even seen yet. So we got to be ready to make great adjustments against them.
You mentioned knowing Parker's family. What was your first, conversation with Mark Martinez, knowing that you were going to get him? What was that phone call like again?
Well, you know, Mark was his coach, and I've known Mark forever, and we've always stayed in touch. So it's funny, when I took the job and it broke that morning and I was on the plane over here, Parker's dad was one of the first guys to text me, you know, and then Coach Martinez hit me up later that day. So it's always good when you're coming into a new room and you actually have some familiarity with some of the kids. So there's a comfort level, not only for me, but for them as well. You know, everybody's like, who's this guy coming in here? And they kind of knew me a little bit, so that helped a little bit.
Yeah,